WYS Pickens Jackson.
Hey, what do you say we sing a driving song?
There's not going to be any singing around here. Just
real sports.
On the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly.
Oh, this is going to be sweet.
And it's all right here, right now on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Ninth day of January 2024. Welcome in. It's not a Michigan Monday or a Wolverine Wednesday, but I will tell you it feels good to be a national champion. You didn't watch one play. I will still give you an honorary championship ring, Mr. Producer, Man of Leisure. I am in a giving mood today, and I'm giving out. Who wants to be a champion today? 601-897-1059. That is the Malone Roofing caller line. ecmalone.com is their website. 8337-MALONE. Commercial residential roofing done right with Malone Roofing Services. Hey, we're brought to you by Maristar Casino. Get out and play today. You can go ahead and play the 2024 National Championship odds if you want to do that. NFL playoffs, a lot to do. Also college basketball, NBA, hockey, you name it, they've got it at Maristar Casino. 4 great restaurants to serve you. Also, you can check out the new casino areas, the new slot areas up front on the second floor. Can't miss them. Beautiful property, beautiful stuff going on at Ameristar Casino. You can text us 601-885-3776. That is the Cowboy Maloney's text line. Make your house a home today with Cowboy Maloney's, and we'll tell you about some new deals they got going on at Cowboy Maloney's. 13 locations around the state, online at cowboymaloney's.com. And you can hit us up on the Clinton Body Shop Twitter feed, X feed, at Jake Wim. 2 locations to serve you. Clinton, Richland, OEM factory certified, all the manufacturers you trust, and we're streaming on the zone1059.com. Kelley Ford, 4:30 to 5 o'clock, and then with the lines.com, Sam Webb, Michigan Insider, 247sports.com at 5:30 on his break from Austin or wherever they play the game. He's in Atlanta, headed back. So you did it. Congratulations. You didn't watch one play of the national championship in college football. You really didn't watch one play? Seriously?
Jake, I said yesterday that was my goal.
You're a man of your word. I give you that.
I not only didn't watch a single play, I didn't watch a single second of pregame coverage, a single second of the game, a single second of postgame, nothing. Stayed completely away.
You must be a man that just, you drill in, you're impeccable on discipline, I guess. Is that what we'd call this? Impeccable discipline.
I guess in certain areas.
Right. Certain areas. So you did it. You did it. Yeah, Michigan gets to win tonight or last night. They're your national champions. You know that. Now we move on to the next phase, which is literally 2024, right? Yeah. This never stops. We'll start looking at teams as the teams start to kind of come into shape with the transfer portal that's already happening with the recruiting and such. Who are the favorites for next year? And I will take the Michigan hat off and put it in the closet along with my national championship. That's another one that I have. I don't know how many I'm going to have by the time I leave this place. I'm like Tom Brady. I'm just catching rings. Let's go to Gator Matt. Matt, welcome in.
Jake, you couldn't wait to get to work today, could you?
Man, I was up early.
You probably showed up. You were probably there 2 hours ago, weren't you?
I was ready to go.
I mean, Beaver's a true Alabama fan.
He
not
is.
To watch one play. But, Jake, I have to be honest, I feel cheated a little bit. I mean, we're going to hear how the Big Ten is back. And Jake, Michigan's not very good. I mean, let's pair them. I mean, do you honestly, Jake, believe they were the best team in the country this year?
Well, who else are you going to pick? They're 15-0.
I mean, offensively, their passing game is not good. I mean, their passing concepts just, I mean, yeah, I think Georgia's better than them. I think Alabama's better than them. I think Ole Miss could beat them half the time. I think LSU I don't think they could keep up with LSU. Honestly, I just don't. I don't, Jake. I mean, yes, were they physical? Yes, but I feel cheated. I feel like listen, I just pulled into Bojangles. See you.
See you, Matt. How many SEC fans really feel that way? I don't know that Matt means what he says. Maybe he does. Everybody keeps going to Georgia. Oh, Georgia could beat Michigan. They couldn't beat Alabama. Do you think Georgia would have? Well, see, you didn't watch the game.
Yeah, they would have.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Don't give me the transitive property of, well, Georgia lost to Alabama and Alabama lost to Michigan and Michigan beat Washington, therefore, no. Georgia, yes, I believe Georgia would have beat them. Now I can't get down with Gator Matt saying Alabama's better because we just saw 8 days ago they weren't. So I can't support that. But I'll stand by him on that Georgia deal.
Alabama did play Michigan closer than anybody in the country. Took them down to the last play of overtime. So, yeah, I mean, Alabama, best team that they played all year. Let's see here. And, look, they're the champions, and now we'll move on to something different. Let's see here. Magic Mike. Jake, congratulations on your Michigan pick. Like Babe Ruth, you called your shot and never wavered. My question is, will Michigan's title be tainted due to all the controversy surrounding the team and its coach, specifically the sign-stealing accusations? It certainly tainted the Astros' first natty. Major League Baseball, a lot bigger, more buttoned-up entity than the NCAA. If the NCAA had teeth, I think maybe, but I don't know that anything comes of this. What do you think?
Oh, in 2028, maybe 2027. This will be vacated. 3 to 4 years.
Some Friday afternoon news dump just out of nowhere. If we're still here, we'll be on at 5 o'clock, and it'll come across Ross Dellinger's Twitter feed that Michigan's title has been vacated, right? And Jim Harbaugh will have already been off into the – it'll be a totally new group of guys, new coaches, and they'll look around and go, what? And then you'll have J.J. McCarthy, who will be in the NFL, make some statement at some post-practice press conference, right, about it being tainted. That's probably what happened.
Where did you say McCarthy's going to be?
In the NFL.
You mean CFL?
You're sending him to CFL. You don't think he's an NFL guy?
No.
What?
No.
He's not bad. He's a nice quarterback.
He's nice. About as nice as Maryland.
He does need to come back. I don't know that he needs to come out this year. I know Kuiper likes him, but that doesn't always translate into success, does it? If Kuiper likes you. Who was it Kuiper said if he would quit if he was in the league? I can't remember how you remember the one I'm talking about?
Clausen.
If Jimmy Clausen didn't make it, he'd quit. You know what he said? Mm-hmm. Jimmy Clausen didn't make it and he didn't quit. JM. Congrats, Jake. That was one hell of a pick 3 months ago. But understand it does not clear the slate for all the bogus picks you've missed. Touche, JM. Hey, sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't. And I've made tons of bogus picks. I keep telling myself every year I'm laying off LSU. I'm never picking LSU to win or lose or anything. And they draw me back in. They draw me back in all the time. Something intrigues me or piques my interest with the LSU Tigers, and then I'm like, yeah, let's look at that. And then it's heartbreak. White Denzel, congrats to Michigan. Washington wanted none of Michigan's physicality, much like DJ's lame duck Buckeyes. Yeah, for sure, the Michigan defense last night was just too much for Washington to handle, and I felt sorry for Michael Penix in the fourth quarter. You could tell he was in pain. He had taken some shots, and he was visibly holding his right side of his rib protector, and you could tell he was in pain. And there was a lot of hard hits. I mean, Michigan really went after him. And, I mean, physically, Michigan was and I know SEC people don't want to hear this. That was the most physical football team all year long. And you want me to tell you another thing we'll never know but that would have happened? They beat Georgia by 10 points. They would. They would bulldoze Georgia right in the face. But we'll never see it. We'll never see it. Wonder how bad the ratings were for the game last night. We will get the ratings books here in the next couple of days. I don't know. Well, obviously, one thing we know is Beaver hurt the ratings. You purposely did this for the ratings, like Jerry was talking about. Our boss Jerry said he cut it off and changed the channel so he wouldn't get counted in the ratings. That's a true SEC guy. Miko, Michigan's title isn't going to be tainted. Over/under on Harbaugh staying at Michigan. I'm going to say that he's gone. I would be shocked if he comes back.
Oh, I don't know about shocked, but I definitely still feel he's gone.
And let's see, one more here before we go to break. Gator Matt, Michigan will be no more than a 7-win team next year. There goes your dynasty. Well, I don't think Michigan's going to be a dynasty. And they very well could be a 7-win team next year. Again, Matt, just like you go into Bojangles and picking something different every day, every year's a different pick. I have no idea who I'm picking yet next year. It could be Georgia. It could be Bama. I may be sitting next to JM saying Roll Tide next year. Could happen. I may hook them. I've got to let the analytics decide. We will talk about Mississippi State fans who were extremely active and pissed off at Will Rogers last night for being at the game. You people are something else. You are something else. We're brought to you by Maristar Casino, and we're brought to you by Ashley Howie. Cry Like Realtor, 769-226-3782. Facebook.com/Ashley Howie Realtor if you're looking to buy, sell, or relocate. Tuesday edition of the program.
Okay, we're back.
I'm ready. It's more of the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly, where he's live and local on Jackson Sports Authority, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by Martin's Downtown. Get out of Martin's, enjoy lunch daily. Also enjoy music on the weekends. Grab a Michelob Ultra, a Bud Light, courtesy of Southern Beverage. Please drink responsibly. Grab a friend, a coworker, your better half. Get out of Martin's and enjoy. Today, go to martinsdowntownjxn.com. Also, NFL playoffs coming up this weekend. Super wild card weekend as we move towards what should be, a great weekend in the National Football League. It is Tuesday, so you've got $2 off all craft beers as well, 11 a.m. to midnight at Martin's. We'll have Kelley Ford coming up 4:30 to 5 o'clock, thelions.com. College football in the NFL, Sam Webb, Michigan Insider, 247 Sports at 5:30. So Sid Salter, if you're Mississippi State people, you know who Sid Salter is. If you're not, you may know. Sid Salter is a Mississippi State guy. He worked for the athletic department for a long time. And he put out a tweet last night. SU President Mark Keenum found a familiar face at the Washington sideline, on the Washington sideline for the national championship game in Houston. Future Washington quarterback Will Rogers, who led the Mississippi State Bulldogs during the Mike Leach era, will be cheering on his new teammates. Keenum wished him well. And it's a photo. Have you seen the photo? All right, so it's nothing special. It's Will Rogers in his new Washington jersey, and just kind of dressed out. Keenum's there. And there was some video that was posted of Will Rogers throwing footballs during warm-ups. So what has happened is, obviously, like a lot of these transfers, he's already in class. He's already on the team. Let's let him go with us, probably with the other transfers, have him acclimated, let him enjoy this, let him be around those teammates, his future teammates, and be a part of the whole deal. But Mississippi State fans, not all, but quite a few, took it upon themselves to get mad as hell and pissed off because Sid Salter put this out. And the fact that Mark Keenum would pose in a picture with Will Rogers. Oh, no, what do we do, Will Rogers? I mean, some of the comments are god-awful, by the way. Will, I hope you burn in hell. I mean, it's just like, what did Will ever do to you people? You know what this is like? This is just like you were in a bad relationship, you dumped your girlfriend, and now you're pissed off that she's with somebody else. Mississippi State fans get mad about Will Rogers in a photo with Mark Keenum at the national championship game, but they will also celebrate transfers coming into their program. Is that fan base broken? Or better yet, did Chris Lemonis crashing the plane in baseball break that fan base? I'm serious.
I won't. Now, let's not put that where you bash the situation you just described, bash this guy, but celebrate the transfers coming in. Because someone, who was it? Resdog. He was talking about, Ole Miss, they do the same thing. I'm sure a lot of the teams do the same thing. But that's ridiculous. Why? It's not like he's hanging out. Keenum was, I don't know, posing with an Ole Miss player. No one inside the SEC. He's with a former Mississippi State guy at a national championship game. I don't understand why mad. Is it because you realize you'll never be in a national championship game? Is that really the root of it? Was the season... Do you still have such a bad taste in your mouth from the season? Look, petty-ass Peterson is gone. Bar Brady's gone. Arnett's gone. They can't hurt you anymore. So, calm down.
Yeah, you got a new football coach. You got a new staff. You got guys coming in the transfer portal. It's a new era. Let it go. They just can't let it go.
And just really focus on that trash-ass Petty Peterson is gone.
Let's see why Denzel. I'd say a 40% chance of Harbaugh is back. He's going to win. He's going to want a GM he can't trust, or he's going to want a general manager he can't trust, and wants control with the general manager. Of the openings right now, only the Commanders fit the bill. Yeah, again, it depends on what Harbaugh wants, what's available, and like you said, what can he really get out of it? I mean, how much control does Jim Harbaugh really want? How much, where does that whole thing manifest itself? Let's go to Larry on the Malone Roofing caller line. Larry, welcome in.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, brother.
Good to talk to you. Yeah, I just wanted to co-sign what Beeve was saying about the State fans. It's unfortunate they're acting like, like a scoring relationship is like, hey, if I can't have you, nobody else can. I'm pretty sure it's the same fans that did the same thing with Dylan Johnson. He's at Washington doing a great thing, and as well as with the Cam Newton situation. It's like, if I can't have you, nobody else can, and I'm going to do whatever I can to do it. And so it's sad. It's sad. It's like, hey, just be happy for somebody. The kid gave all he had to the university, and he was homegrown, and he did what he's supposed to do. I mean, like I say, you can't please certain people. And it's not all State fans, we know that, but to those, goes the spoils. And another thing, I wanted that you guys see the $900 million, and I repeat, $900 million TV revenue contract that ESPN signed to host the championship game.
I know. I have not seen a dollar figure. I'll have to look that up, but I know that they're doing all kinds of signing documents and getting stuff ready to go.
Yeah, and it's just TV revenue, and that's just for those games. But they say they don't have any money for the kids, and that's why a lot of those people of those caliber in those big jobs, they didn't want Harbaugh to win that game because he speaks for sharing the revenue with the players, and that alone shows you how much money is in that what he was displaying. So I think it was a great job that he won. Even though we're all SEC fans, but for the platform, and he's speaking the voice up to the guys who are basically doing the labor for the job. Hey, there you go. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. 601-897-1059. Good call as always, Larry. Alabama defensive coordinator Kevin Steele is retiring, courtesy of Chris Lowe, so Alabama will be looking for a new defensive coordinator. Let's see here. Also, a couple more pictures I'm looking at here. Yeah, Dylan Johnson hanging out with Will Rogers pregame. People got mad about that, too. Quishawn Judkins is headed to Ohio State. Do you think DJ's happy? So what do you think about Ohio State? This is going to be interesting. They got a transfer quarterback from Kansas State who's a mobile guy. They're bringing in Judkins. Snapshot is Ohio State trying to get back physical. Judkins running quarterback. This will be interesting to see. Judkins now an Ohio State Buckeye. Also, NFL news, I'm sure you saw it. Adam Schefter, Titans fire head coach Mike Vrabel. I was a little surprised by this. Were you?
No, because I started hearing a couple weeks ago, some rumors said he wanted out. And then I see today where I forget exactly who it was, but a higher up in the organization was talking about, they were going to do a deal where they wanted to trade him, but they wanted him out as quick as possible. That wording is a little. That doesn't sound like there were great feelings there. So he's a good coach. I mean, they've fallen on some hard times the last couple of years, but it's a little surprising. But you heard rumors at the end of the year, so it's not shocking.
He'll land on his feet somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody will pick him up pretty quickly. Let me get this text in. We'll take a timeout here. Unnamed texter, we must have watched a different game. No way they would have beat Georgia by 2 TDs. I can say this. Also, Ole Miss would have gave your Michigan a better game than we saw last night. Maybe. You guys are still sleeping on this team. Still sleeping on them. I guess you're going to sleep for eternity. We're brought to you by Mac Hike in Madison Gluckstadt.
Are you threatening these people? Was that a threat?
Oh, what do you mean?
You're going to sleep for eternity.
No, I'm not taking anybody out here. Wasn't a threat. Not going to put them in a car and send them on their way. Hey, go to Speaking of Cars, MacHikeMadison.com. On-site, online, your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Chevy, and Ram dealer. Madison Gluckstadt. Get that great Mac Hike feeling. New, used, and great inventory. CDJR, Chevy, and more.
This is the home of the Chuck Oliver Show every weekday from 10 till noon on Mississippi's live and local sports authority. And where? We're back to Jake Quiverly with the afternoon drive on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Brought to you by Gutter Masters. A lot of rain last night. A lot of storms. Gutters got messed up with some of the wind. Need gutters. Don't have them. 601-503-7755. GutterMastersLLC.com. Get protected today with our good friends at Gutter Masters. Also, Facebook.com/Gutter Masters as well. All right. Tennessee Vrabel is out. Some other notes here. Final bowl records versus the spread by conference. Gaming. Big Ten went 7-3 against the spread. The MAC 4-2. The Big 12 5-4. Pac-12 5-4. SEC 5-4. AAC 3-3. Sun Belt 5-7, and then the ACC 4-7. Mountain West and Conference USA 2-5 and 1-3 respectively. Final bowl records by conference: Big 10 6-4. Big 12, Pac-12 5-4. SEC 5-4, and then the rest down through the MAC, the worst at 2-4. Also, current coaches who started the year ranked in the AP top 10 and finished the season unranked. Well, Lane Kiffin did it back in 2012 at USC. Started in the top 10, was bounced by the end of the year. Brian Kelly, Notre Dame, 2016. Gus Malzahn at Auburn did it twice, 2018 and 2015. Mario Cristobal in 2020 along with James Franklin at Oregon and Penn State. Matt Campbell at Iowa State. 2021. You remember that year? Everybody was on Iowa State. They were the dark horse, sleeper. Top 10 preseason. They got bounced. Mike Brown, North Carolina, 2021. Brent Venables last year at Oklahoma. Dave Aranda last year at Baylor. And this year, Lincoln Riley at USC. He's the lone coach. Started in the top 10 and then flamed out as the season moved on. So we'll get into Brett McMurphy's way too early top 25 and some others. Jim Harbaugh, though, was asked about off-the-field issues after the ballgame last night. He said, quote, "The off-the-field issues were innocent, and we stood strong and tall because we knew we were innocent." And I like to point that out. They were innocent. These guys are innocent, and we're innocent, and we all overcame that, and that's hard because we knew we were innocent. How about that from Jim Harbaugh? What do you think about that? That's a heck of a quote.
How many times can you say the word innocent, especially when you're guilty?
You just won a championship, and you're focused on innocence.
You know what? We always talk about when people have to tell you how good they are, then
they're not good.
They're not good, and they're trying to, overcompensate for something. So if you have to tell me how innocent you are and say it, 6 times in that little bitty statement there you just told me?
6 times.
Yeah.
6.
Then, I'm not likely to believe you.
Jim Harbaugh on the NFL and the questions, he says, I just want to enjoy this. I just want to enjoy it. I said it twice. I hope you give me that. Can you guys just give me that? Does it always have to be about what's next and what's in my future?
Okay. Now I see, because I was at the gym space this morning, and I was looking at this tiny TV. First Take was on. And their closed captioning on that TV, on those TVs up there, they miss 99.6% of what the words are. So I could see they were playing a clip, and I could see Harbaugh talking at the press conference. And then I saw Stephen A. Smith saying, okay, I get that, but this guy needs to realize that, because I could tell somewhat of the captioning. Stephen A. Smith was basically saying, I realize that, but this guy needs to realize that the press is doing their job. They have a right to ask these questions. Can you guys give me that? See, this is another reason I don't like this man. Can you guys just give me that? That's loose, man.
I'm innocent.
Classic Harbaugh.
I just want to enjoy the moment, and you're bothering me. That's what he's basically saying.
Mm-hmm.
Crisco on the Cowboy Maloney's text line. No way in H. McCarty is going to step foot on the NFL. On the NFL field, he's Mac Jones. He said, yeah, I said McCarty. Doesn't deserve the H. So is J.J. McCarthy Mac Jones 2.0?
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, I can see that. Well, he wasn't even as good in college as Mac Jones was in college. So NFL comparison, yeah, I think he's a step below Mac Jones all the way around.
Or devil's advocate, other side of the coin, because history does repeat itself, believe it or not. Is he Tom Brady 2.0? Coming out of Michigan. Just above average. Headsy guy. Makes throws when he needs to. Did that last night. He's not going to wow you with everything. Not overly physically intimidating. I mean, I know you didn't watch the game. At one point last night, he took off and had 3 runs back to back to back where he got Michigan out of a bad situation inside their 20, but pushed the ball across the 50. They ended up punting, but he flipped the field on field position. Could he be that kind of guy?
No, and I'm downright offended that you would even put him in the same sentence as a possible Tom Brady.
Moves like him, not as tall. He's Michigan guy.
No, and look, I never even liked Tom Brady. So for me to get offended at that, Jake, take it back.
I take it back. Ready, Teddy. Jake, if you don't take Ole Miss next year, you won't have a national championship next year. Teddy's I've already had a couple state people say, don't you dare pick Ole Miss next year. Don't you dare do it. Hey, I don't know where the numbers are going to take me yet. I have no idea. It's a blank canvas at this point. Michigan is on the shelf. It's a blank canvas. Teddy's going all in on Michigan, though. I mean, not Michigan, Ole Miss.
I like it.
It's time.
I mean, I don't like the Ole Miss national title pick, but I support Teddy.
I mean, we'll find out. I mean, is it an outlier? You know, the 14 playoff era is over. The 2024 college football playoff is now going to be a 12-team field. We know that. First round home site games will be December 20th and 21st. You'll have one game on December 20th and 3 games on December 21st. The quarterfinal games, 31st, that'll be the Fiesta. And on January 1st, you're going to get 3 bowl games, all playoffs, peach, rose, sugar. The semifinals will be this week next year. January 9th, you're going to have the orange. And January 10th, you're going to have the cotton. And then the championship game is going to be in Atlanta on January 20th. So you have a month full of college football playoff next year. How can you not be excited about that? Not saying you're not, but how could you not be excited about that?
Yeah, those I'm going to watch.
Not if an SEC team's not in the January 20th game.
Well, it doesn't matter because we're going to have probably 2 in that championship game.
Almost tell you, yes, an SEC team will be in the title game next year, and it might be 2. Me and you talked about this off the air, I think, the other day. as long as the NCAA or the College Football Playoff Committee doesn't screw the SEC, a la College World Series brackets. If you remember back in the 90s when the SEC, it was obviously State, and Ron Polk and everything they did in baseball, Skip Berman and LSU, but then the SEC got really hot and was sending, 3-4 teams at a time to Omaha. State, LSU, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, pick a team. Well, then they changed the pod. They did something anyway. Every time you looked up, it seemed like in the College World Series, you'd have, if 4 SEC teams were in it, you'd have 3 on one side and 1 on the other. As long as the committee doesn't jack with a bracket and all the SEC teams on one side. Because it'll be apparent, will it not? I mean, just think about if Alabama, Texas, and Georgia are the top three teams in the SEC next year. But let's say Bama wins the SEC, and then Georgia's got like a loss and Texas has a loss. And then they come in at 5 and 9, and then they're all just happen to be on the same side to where they have to cannibalize each other. That's what's going to be bad. But I do think that there will be an SEC team in the championship game next year, and I think it very well could be too. Possum Neck Joe, I don't have anything against the kid. To my Will Rogers. Oh, he has one up here. If Will Rogers was the greatest or was the quarterback last night, it would have been 64-13. What fifth grader goon wearing his number 15 jersey around Rogers would have been sacked double digits last night? Now, Joe, there's no way for you to know that. Penix was running for his life, and he didn't have a great game, by the way. I don't have anything against the kid. I just think he's not a great football player. Rusty. These fans that are bashing Will are probably the same ones that were kissing his rear end when he was throwing for 500 a game. Some of them were, but then some didn't even give him credit then. They said he just did it on check down passes. PT for MSU. Just got in the truck between Beaver's rants and Larry's call. I like where the show is headed today. Thank you, sir. We are brought to you by Williams Newman Williams. When you need a win, if you're in a car wreck, truck accident, nursing home neglect, online, WNWlegal.com. That's WNWlegal.com. Our good friends at Williams Newman Williams. Timeout on the floor.
To learn more.
And action! We know a whole lot more around here. It's the Afternoon Drive with Jake Wimberly.
What's the score?
He's got that, along with the hottest sports stories of the day on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by A1 Guaranado, your hometown vehicle specialist. They've been around for over 15 years, serving Central Mississippi, 601-939-1060. Radiators, engines, starters, alternators. If you need your heat fixed this time of year, it's a good time to get that done. They can do that for you. Also, AC during the summer, water pumps, rear end differentials, and more. 601-939-1060. Kelley Ford will join us at 4:30. We'll go to 5 o'clock, thelines.com, college and the NFL. Sam Webb, Michigan Insider 247 Sports at 5:30. Let's see here. Unnamed texter. Will we be, by the way, you can text us 601-885-3776. That is the Cowboy Maloney's text. Will we be discussing the Ole Miss fans going after Stonka, Burnside, and Q's mother? How do their 50-year-old troll coach and fan base get a pass on everything? Well, I'm assuming that's for me going after the State fans for going after Will Rogers. I mean, I saw some of that. But if I had to get into every bit of recruiting back and forth on X and social media, you'd be here all day, right? Just reading threads. And State and Ole Miss fans getting after each other and going after kids and parents. It's almost like par for the course. That's what makes it toxic. Does that make the Egg Bowl is the Egg Bowl back toxic?
Well, we don't need to just center this in Mississippi. For some reason, people have gotten extra trashy these days. Almost all the fan bases. Mississippi State, for some reason, has a section of fans that are trash who do this. Ole Miss has a large section of trash that are doing this. But let's go to Florida State. We just talked yesterday about how they're threatening people personally on the College Football Playoff Committee because you left us out of the playoffs. Remember a few years ago, Kentucky basketball fans did the same thing to a referee?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, sure did.
For some reason. I'm sure even a school like Akron has these people for some reason. I don't understand it, but some seem worse than others. But it's pathetic.
There was
ridiculous.
A whole section of SEC fans across the board that want to take the Vandy Whistler out. Like, take him out.
Well, he deserved it.
What? See, now you're in there. You can't take the Vandy Whistler out. Let's see here. Dexter. Ryan Day, his seat got hotter last night, and this is not sitting well in Columbus. No, you're right. I mean, look, it's the way that whole thing rolls, right? When Michigan wins, Ohio State, they better, or vice versa. When Alabama, Auburn, it's kind of the way college sports are. RT, if Ole Miss played Michigan and won, I'd buy the whole staff of that box of Pleasure from Tammy Rose that's outlawed in 3 states. And unnamed texture, if they were innocent, why did they fire 2 employees? Maybe they didn't take the trash out right. I have no idea. Ross Dellinger, YahooSports.com, he says, as it turns out, leaders are gathering this week at the NCAA convention where the Division I board will review and potentially charge the Division I council with creating a framework related to Baker's compensation plan. This comes into light of Charlie Baker's new proposal. We're all going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and it doesn't matter if you're at Millsaps or Michigan. Everybody's getting the same. Harbaugh was asked if he'd be willing to meet with the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, about player compensation. He says, quote, I think they know my number. That's what Harbaugh said. Now, here's what's interesting about this whole deal, and we'll get more into this Charlie Baker deal. And if you hadn't been following this story, we talked about it a few weeks ago. Charlie Baker, who is the astute president of the NCAA, who is a lifetime politician from Maine or Maryland. I can't remember where he was, governor or mayor or something. He takes over as the president of the NCAA, and now he is trying to put together this framework called, what is it? What did he call this? Not the sub-conference, or I can't, subdivision. The NCAA subdivision. So the NCAA subdivision is basically this. You have to opt in as a school to see really what's in it. Sounds a lot like a government plan in Washington, D.C. But you have to opt in. And the whole framework is everybody's going to get the same. So there's up to, if you're a 4-year athlete, you can get up to $130,000 in money. This bypasses NIL, and it's a substitute for NIL and collectives. And it doesn't matter if you're a volleyball player or a football player or whoever. Everybody's getting the same. And he wants everybody to buy into this. But what's interesting that I've noticed about this, remember Greg Sankey spoke on this. He said they never told us about this before they dropped it. None of the coaches have been contacted about it. Saban spoke on this just a little bit, and he says, we don't really know a whole lot about it. Jim Harbaugh says, they got my number, they can call me. He's not reaching out to the biggest players about this. Why? Why is Charlie Baker ducking the biggest power brokers in college sports? Do you know why? Because they'll never buy off on it. He's hoping that he can get enough support from everybody else and somewhat trick other people that are desperate for money, schools that don't have collectives that are buttoned up, and there's a lot of them. They don't have the funds available to come limping into this subdivision and essentially save the NCAA. That's what he's doing. That's what this play is. But the power brokers in college sports don't want it. The SEC doesn't want it. The Big Ten doesn't want it. The ACC doesn't want it. And probably the Big 12 doesn't want it. So this will be an interesting deal. Again, I think this thing flops. I don't think it ever gets off the ground. But we'll see. Carolina Panthers, 9 candidates have been requested for interviews for Carolina. What's going to happen? Is there anybody or anything that can save that whole franchise? Poor Bryce Young. I just don't know. All right, Miko. Over under on who Beaver dislikes more, Harbaugh or Coach Prime? All right, Beaver. You're destined to be living on an island for the next 5 years. Tom Hanks is not there. Wilson's not there. You have to pick Harbaugh or Prime. You got to pick one. Who's it going to be? 5 years.
On an island?
Yeah.
I guess I'll take Harbaugh.
You guess?
But I guess, when you're away, well, because Deion Sanders is, he's delusional and just talks all the time, but that's in the realm of college football. But if he's just on an island and can't be around football.
He may keep you entertained, though. Harbaugh's liable to sit over there away from you and never speak for 5 years. Unless it's some mumble jumble about sand and the water and sticks or something. Just depends on how much communication you want to have. I think I'd almost go with Prime.
That's not his name. That's not his name.
Deion Sanders. Let's see. Will H., are we comparing J.J. McCarthy to Tom Brady right now? When does baseball start? No. Well, which baseball? Who are you a fan of? Because it could get nasty. Could get nasty real quick. Mo. Just says about damn time. And I'm not sure what that means. You look perplexed over there.
Why Denzel's tweet just now?
Let's see here. Yes, I just got that come across the wire, and I was going to get to that. We'll go ahead and do that right now. Courtesy of Blake Levin, WJTV, who reported this first. Judd Boswell has stepped down as the Clinton football coach. He will continue as the school's athletics director, and they'll be looking for a new football coach. So we'll get Coach Judd on and talk to him about this.
To me at least, that's almost shocking. But that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not in any kind of circles, so maybe other people knew, but I was not expecting that.
Well, we'll get Coach Judd on and talk to him about it. Crisco, as a diehard MSU supporter, I can acknowledge that Ole Miss could be unstoppable next season. I wouldn't go as far as unstoppable. They're going to be really good, though. And J-Rock, well, at least the State fans are not calling Rogers a cancer in the locker room like the Rebs did with Judkins. Well, you're true. That is true. And it's back and forth. Man, it is just so much. Is it called vitriol? And monkeys riding dogs. Don't worry, Beaver. The island will have plenty of Shador sauce waiting for you. That's very, very good. All right, let's see here. We will get into more NFL news. The Jags have fired their defensive coordinator, Mike Caldwell, and his staff. And we got On Threes way too early, top 25. We'll jump into that and more. We are brought to you by Burgers Blues Barbecue, Flowood, Madison, Brandon, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Also catering options available, the food truck, and more. Go to their website, burgersbluesbarbecue.com. Also find them on social media. Back in a bit.
Or check us out.
The number you have reached.
WRKS Pickens Jackson. From college football to the NFL to high school football. 365 days a year. Hear it all on Jackson Sports Authority. Live and local at 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com. Now let's get back to the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly.
Hour 2 on the way right now, brought to you by Mississippi Legends Grill. Bingo, trivia, kids eat free on Thursday. Get out and enjoy Mississippi Legends Grill this week. Grab a Michelob Ultra Bud Light. Please drink responsibly and enjoy the lunch of the day. You can go to facebook.com/Mississippi Legends Grill. 601-897-1059. That is the Malone Roofing caller line. You can always text us 601-885-3776. That is the Cowboy Maloney's text line. Cowboy Maloney's right now, heat and cool units in stock at Cowboy Maloney's. Up to 36 months, interest-free financing. Bad credit, no problem. Introducing their new Easy Pay, no credit check options. And, of course, heat and cool units in stock for as low as $30 a month. So if you need some, they've got it. End of the year clearance sale going on right now with Sealy as well. So a lot of good stuff going on at Cowboy Maloney's. All right, we'll have Kelley Ford coming up in 30 minutes, thelines.com. We'll talk college and the NFL, get his reaction to last night, kind of what's moving forward. And we'll talk the NFL playoffs. Also, Sam Webb, Michigan Insider, 247sports.com will join us as well. Let's see, Miko, breaking, Mississippi Braves moving to Columbus, Georgia after this season. Is that, now, I know Miko is in the know, so I wouldn't read something that I was not sure that Miko not knew. Is that 100% a deal?
Wait a minute. I don't know why you're asking me.
You live in Pearl City.
I would know nothing about the Braves. Now, first we saw the report, I guess it was back in, I was tracking my days and months, maybe November, December. One report did come out that it was a possibility they could leave, but then Claren Ledger put that out. But then 2 weeks later they said, well, to be fair, let's go back to this article from, I think it was 2021, where it was talking about the Braves are locked in at least through like 2031 or something like that. Anyway, but the key word here is Claren Ledger. So what are you going to believe? I'll believe Miko.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people on this text line, we love them all, that I wouldn't just read something like that, but Miko I know is roped in. So I believe what Miko has to say is the gospel. Possum Neck Joe, I'll look into that more. Jake, since we pushed on the Georgia top 5 bet this year, you predicted Will Rogers would pass for 3,500 yards this coming year. I say heck no. If you take this bet, I will not mention Rogers again until football season. Joe, you have yourself a deal, and you can still mention Will Rogers. He will pass for over 3,500 yards at Washington, 30-plus touchdowns, and his interceptions will be under 10. Under 10. Pug. It's done. They just tweeted it. Wow. So, see, that's why I trust Miko. Trust him with just about anything, except for his recommendations on Bojangles. I've got to go do this Bojangles thing myself. There's so many. You have an opinion. Miko has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and they're all different on Bojangles. Yeah. Like, this thing is an anomaly. So, the Mississippi Braves. Let me go over here to X. Why do I always feel so bad saying that? I think Elon did that on purpose. The Mississippi Braves, courtesy of Blake Levin, who is having a heavy news day today, will be moving to Columbus, Georgia after next season. Interesting. The Braves have put out a message that say to our incredible fans, 2024 will be the Braves' final season in Braves in Pearl, Mississippi. The AA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves will be relocating to Columbus, Georgia. As of the start of 2025 season, we want to thank Pearl, the surrounding Jackson community, and the state of Mississippi for the incredible support for the franchise over the past 19 seasons or years. We have loved creating memories with you at Trustmark Park, and we look forward to bringing you an amazing 2024 season. The M Braves will be commemorating the 20th season at Trustmark Park through a 69-game home schedule in 2024, beginning with opening day on Tuesday, April 9th versus Biloxi. We're hopeful that this is not the end of professional baseball in Pearl, and our organization will support any efforts to bring a team to Trustmark Park in the future. Very interesting. We'll see what happens as an era closes on the Mississippi Braves this year. Very, very interesting. And Miko, thank you for sending that over to us. Mr. DX, Jake Wim, the king of college football. I will take that mantra. And Pug, let's just acknowledge what we're all thinking. Jackson in its current state will run off anything that needs support from the city. Well, to be fair, this is Pearl. So I can't throw this on Jackson. And he sends the media response here. All right, if you got thoughts on that, if you got thoughts on the Mississippi Braves, this being the final season coming up, what's next for that park? What will happen with the park? Obviously, you would have to think that the city of Pearl will work extremely hard to garner attention from more Major League Baseball teams. What do you think happens with Trustmark Park? It's a beautiful park. It's a beautiful venue. Have you ever gone to a game out there?
Yeah, it's been forever. 2009 was that the last? 2014. 2014 is the last time I've been there.
I was going to say, if it was 2009, it seems like every time the last time you did something was 2009, and that was a loaded year for you. What happens?
I don't know. I mean, it'd be weird for that thing to just sit there and never be occupied again. I guess you could bring some, like when the Generals left, and then they brought in that Diamond Cats team, Smithwills. Could be similar to that, but
yeah, but does
you think it's got to do something with it? But I don't know that really. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Sorry, I didn't mean
really
to walk on you.
Drive traffic. Yeah,
there. Independent baseball. I just don't think it will.
No, I don't know about that. Yeah, I doubt it because the whole appeal of it was they're connected to the Atlanta Braves, tons of Atlanta Braves fans. I don't know. Frankly, I don't care because I still have ill will for them from 2005 when they first opened and they didn't hire me for any positions there.
Wait a minute. You've never told this story. So you have had a axe to grind with the Mississippi Braves for almost 20 years?
I don't really, but I did apply before the first season.
What
and
did
I
you apply
don't mean
for?
anything like, announcer or anything like that. I just mean like working at the stadium. Because I wasn't doing anything with my life at that point, so I just needed a job.
How old were you?
That was spring 2005, so I was 22. Yeah.
You telling me they wouldn't give you a job selling popcorn or nothing?
Nope.
Did you really
They didn't want
apply, or is this one of those deals where you kind of wanted it, but you never really went up there?
No, I went up there. They had some sort of job fair that was going on.
Interesting. I had no idea. Jim, the State fans fussing about Will Rogers are the same ones wanting him benched last year. That is absolutely true. Hey, we are brought to you by Sound Communications online at soundcomav.com. Collaborate, design, and build. With Sound Communications, they've been around since 1955. Collaborate, design, and build. Learn more today. Soundcomav.com. Kelley Ford coming up in
Turning to sports.
With Jake Wimberly on the afternoon drive.
One of the last pure pleasures I have left in my life.
Yeah, maybe you ought to get a life first, okay? On ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by Maristar Casino. Get out and play today. The NFL playoffs, wild card, super wild card weekend is this weekend. We'll get you some lines on the games as we move through the rest of the show. And, of course, we'll have Keith Hardy on Friday, Rafael Esparza on Thursday. We'll get you caught up on all the plays at Maristar. I am not excited about my Miami Dolphins this weekend. It is just the air has gone out of the tires. They're a 4-point dog at Kansas City. It's probably going to be 2 degrees in Kansas City with a gust of wind and Taylor Swift, who is unofficially a government operative. I don't know. All these rumors about Taylor Swift. Is she even real? Is she a human? Beaver, is she an alien? You don't think so? Let's see. Mr. DX. Let the hate go, Mr. Beaver, and PT for MSU. I don't know, Miko, but I work with his wife. I hope your back gets to feeling better. Those exercises she is bringing home work, do them. How about that? So, Miko, if you're down in the back, do the exercises. Unnamed texter, what does the M-Braves announcement do to the annual MSU, Ole Miss, and USM matchups at Trustmark? I hope those matchups aren't affected. Well, you've got that. You've got the MHSAA baseball championships. We'll see. Again, there's a lot of behind the scenes that goes on, obviously, with this. Have no idea. This is, again, talking about, if you're just joining us, the Mississippi Braves have officially announced they are done after the 2024 season in Pearl. They will be moving, is it somewhere over Georgia, I guess? Is it Gwinnett, Georgia? Somewhere. They're moving. So a lot of questions after 2024 about what will happen with Trustmark Park. Res Dog. Rogers will have to throw 700 5-yard passes to get to 3,500 yards. That's going to be tough. Well, that is true, right? 700 5-yard check down routes to get to 3,500. Let's go to Trey. Trey, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Jake.
Hey,
if I remember correctly, I thought you may have put some money on Michigan at the start of the season. If that's so, how much did you win, if you don't mind sharing, and does Beaver get a percentage of it? I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it. Well, I don't mind answering that at all. I bet a future every summer, or going into summer, NFL and college. This year, the Michigan Wolverines, I got them at 11-1. I bet $100 and won 1,100. So it's not a bad payday. Should I share with Beaver? I should probably at least buy you lunch. You want Bojangles?
I do. I do need to give Bojangles another shot. I've been talking about that. But look, Trey. Jake Wimberly shares nothing with me, especially monetarily.
Come on.
I mean, yeah, let's even go back to December 22nd, 2023, when Chris Brooks was in here and said, "Did you get Beaver a Christmas present?" And Jake looked him dead in the eye and said, "Yeah, it's ordered. It's on its way from Amazon." I don't know if you said specifically from Amazon, but I do remember you said, "It's been ordered. It's on its way." Oh, no Christmas present. Lies. So, of course, I'm not going to get a cut of this loot.
It's still in transit.
Is it?
Yes. Yes. You're going to get a late Christmas present.
I'm skeptical about this.
No, come on.
You're going to go order one now when you get home just because we had this conversation.
No, it's in transit. Pony Boy. M-Braves are one of those things we like to brag we have, but few attend. Perfect example, Beaver. Being a media member, not supporting, they are moving on.
I'm not a media member.
You kind of are.
No, I've never. No, I sit here. What is he saying? Is he saying that if I would have gone, they would have survived?
No, I think he's talking about the collective, the general populace. We like to say, yeah, we got a, minor league baseball team. We got this, we got that. And look, if we're going to keep it real, as the young kids say, Central Mississippi has never really supported over a long. The Braves, you're going to get 20 years. You got 20 years out of this, so that's a good long 20 years. But a lot of people just don't go.
The new wore off a long time ago, and that if you lose, people aren't going to show up. And the M-Braves, they won the whole thing. I don't remember when that was, but
a couple years ago.
But they've had more down years than I remember them having good years. So people just won't go.
But this is not just a Mississippi Braves problem. This is a baseball problem. How many ballparks around the Major League Baseball circuit are empty? You see them all the time through the season. Again, I think this is a problem with baseball that they have to address, and they won't do it because of it's America's game and it's traditionalist. The season is way too long. It's way too long. And people have way more, and this is not taken up for people that don't go, but look, think about what people have. Now, when baseball was rolling and it was all we had and it was on the radio, and people dialed into the radio because there wasn't much on TV. We're going back into the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. And football was just coming out of the ground, and the NBA, basketball was still played with no three-point line. Baseball was America's game. But now, think about what goes on in the summer. I mean, let me ask you this. Eric, who runs a travel baseball team out of Yazoo City, the Yazoo City Bombers 69s, who just are in the field every freaking week, every freaking weekend, all summer long. Do you think they're even worried about going to watch baseball? No, they're playing baseball. So my point is this: you got travel baseball going on, you got people that are at the reservoir fighting on Flag Island, you got all of the kind of options that people do, vacations and this and that. Oh, and by the way, you got a baseball stadium here. Even when they win, people aren't showing up because it takes time out of your day. Every day, year in and year out, month after month after month after month. The season's too long. People have way too much to do. There's nothing you can do, I don't think, to draw the attendance that you need to stay above the line in the positive on making money at a minor league baseball. I don't know that you can do it. But I think if baseball was a shorter season, college baseball has the perfect season. I've always said that. Starts here in about a month, and it's over in June. Starts in a month, and it's over in June. Do you think that would help?
Yeah, because I would imagine there's very few. What is their exact number in minor league? It's like still 130, somewhere around there. Am I right?
It's over 100 for sure.
Yeah. I would imagine there's very few people who are going to go to every single game. I guess there's no urgency.
I mean, you'll have some, but it's not enough to make a dent in the bottom dollar.
Yeah. There's no urgency there, I would say. You don't feel like, oh, I have to get to this game. They'll be here tomorrow or next week or 2 weeks from now. Homestand coming up 2 weekends. I'll go to that. I'll go to one game there.
And a lot of the times, these places make their money off the luxury suites, and I don't know that they're making a dent there as well. 601-897-1059. Kelley Ford will join us here in the next segment. J-Rock. Beaver, you have a better chance of getting a present from Chris Brooks. Unnamed texter. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch a baseball game on any level. And Rebel Greg. Central Mississippi is a big travel ball community. They're not taking them kids to Trustmark when the kids have and Greg's absolutely right on that. And that is true. We didn't have travel ball 25 years ago. And there is you want to know where all the people are in the summer? Just go to any random ballpark. Go to Flowood. Go to Brandon. Go to Pearl. Go to Madison. Everybody's at a ballpark, and it's with the kids. Let's go to More Bully before the break. More Bully, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Jake. Congratulations for riding that horse all season, man.
Oh, yeah, it feels good to be a champion.
I hear you, brother. Well, you already knew what it feels like to be a champ, but now you're a champion.
That's right.
Right?
That's it.
Man, I don't know if you know this, but Senator David Blount represents Jackson. That dude, he's been around since Mets games, and he's a baseball nut. And he goes and he gets his season tickets, and he sits in his seat, and he keeps the books on all those games just for himself and for his enjoyment. That's been happening for years. And when there's another team that comes back, he's going to be right back there again. But I'll tell you my quick story. It was 2005, I believe, and I was working in the sports industry, and Braves were coming. And, man, I got to go to the ribbon cutting, and I got to walk out in those woods and stand where home plate was going to be. And that was a pretty cool experience. But I don't think we can fuss and complain and grumble that they're leaving because, I mean, we really didn't support them, and we have a history of that, actually. But the best thing going in minor league baseball right now is Savannah Bananas because, all they do is tour cities, and they say they made baseball fun again. If you hadn't seen that documentary, I encourage you to watch it. It's really good baseball.
Very good. Yeah, I just got a text. Somebody just texted about them as well on here.
Look them up.
Hey, maybe you need to put us together a local Savannah Banana type program.
And put them in the Pearl Stadium?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. Hey, by the way, if there was a Bulldog Nation, we'd be applauding you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, brother.
See you,
man.
601-897-1059. That is the Malone Roofing call line. Commercial, residential roofing done right with Malone Roofing Services. ecmalone.com is their website. 8337 Malone. Kelley Ford.
It's time to get
back in the game
with Jake Wimberly and the Afternoon Drive.
That's entertainment.
On the station that specializes in the Mississippi sports you love.
Now we're talking.
Live and local on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Taking you through a Tuesday, we're streaming on the Zone1059.com. And, of course, brought to you by Maristar Casino. Get out and play NFL playoffs, college basketball, the NBA, and more. Kelley Ford, TheLions.com is where you can find his work. Also, K Ford Ratings on X, KFordRatings.com. Kelly, welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Jake. I was just talking with Ben off air here before we started. It's hard to be doing well when we know we have 227-plus days till we get to see college football again. But outside of that, it's always fun talking to you, Jake.
No, say likewise here, brother. And look, yeah, you know, we've got a while, it seems, but there is so many moving pieces and you know, roster changes. I mean, we talk about Quishawn Judkins now going to Ohio State. I mean, just to watch these teams kind of build into what they're going to be next year is honestly, I know a lot of people don't like NIL and the transfer portal and the collectives and all, but it's actually kind of fun just to watch how these teams are developing right in front of our eyes. I mean, we saw Will Rogers on the sidelines with Washington last night, just to see that happening. And we will kind of look forward just a little bit, talk some NFL with you as well, talk about the Lions, but your thoughts of what you saw last night with Michigan and Washington.
Yeah, Jake, last night it was an interesting national championship game, and it was a competitive national championship game, really into the fourth quarter. It was surprising to me after the start that we had in that game with Michigan running the ball at will. Donovan Edwards, I mean, first couple touches, it was just off and running, and that was it. They showed a graphic on the broadcast. Can't remember what the exact numbers were, but it was just an astounding number of yards before first contact. And if we go back to what we talked about before the game, you know, Michigan being the more balanced team, the Washington defense being the weakest unit in the game, all of that came to fruition. It probably should have been over before it was. Michigan, for some reason, decided to get away from the game plan in the first half that had worked so well in the first couple of drives, and that really allowed Washington to stay in the game. They get a couple of big plays, I mean, a big play or two, keeps them in the game there. At halftime, it's still a one-score game. Throughout much of the third quarter, it's a one-score game. It wasn't until the fourth that Michigan pulls away. But all in all, thoughts are, you know, Michigan, all the things that went on in and around that program, say about it what you will, the on-field performance. And, again, I get it. Hey, you know, Kelly, they were stealing – I understand that's at the backdrop. The results on the field, Michigan was, throughout the course of this year, the best team in college football. They really didn't have a weakness. Defense certainly travels and shows up every single week. And when you have a defense like Michigan, you know you're going to be in those games. And they did a ton to shut down what was a really high-powered Washington team. At the end of the night, I'm not overly surprised by the game that we got. The model did pick Michigan by about 9.5. Of course, they win by much more than that late, pulling away. But it was always going to be a tall task for Washington. They had a great season, and they stayed in the game, which is credit to them. But Michigan was the best team in college football in the 2023 season.
You know, it's going to be interesting, and we've talked about this with you just a little bit. I'm sitting here just looking at, you know, let's just use this for fun. Jesse Simonton, 247sports.com, or excuse me, on3.com. Apologies for that. His way too early top 25. As we think about the 12-team playoff, and, you know, right now he's got Georgia, Texas, Bama, all SEC, and I think that's fair. Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, that's all Big Ten. Ole Miss, SEC. Notre Dame, Independent. Penn State, Big Ten. Missouri, SEC. Utah, Big 12, Oklahoma, SEC, followed by LSU, SEC. We're going to get a heavy helping of SEC and Big Ten next year, aren't we?
Yeah, we certainly are, Jake. And, with the way that the conferences are comprised here moving forward with the realignment and the new membership starting in 2024 and moving forward, that's not just going to be a 2024 thing. That's going to be year in and year out. What I am most curious about is, of course, you're going to have one spot reserved for a non-Power 4 champion, most likely. I know the CFP Board of Governors did not officially approve the recommendation, but everyone expects it to be a 5 AQ plus 7 at large. You'll have at least one spot reserved for a team outside of the quote, Power 4 moving forward, at least. Notre Dame's always going to be in this now, because if Notre Dame finishes a regular season 10-2 with the schedule that they play historically, and again, any given year it could be different, but historically a 10-2 Notre Dame, that's going to be a spot. Outside of those two, I mean, you're looking at the power conferences, and if you go kind of team by team in the ACC, Clemson's been a power here the last decade or so. Florida State certainly seems like they are on the rise. Miami always will have the capability to explode and return to national prominence as they have been in the last 40 years or so. Outside of that in the ACC, though, there's really not a team or a program that you say, man, year in and year out, they're going to be in contention. You go to the new look Big 12. There's really not a team right now that you say year in, year out, they're going to be in contention. Kansas State's got some nice things going on. Utah, of course, has had a lot of success in the Pac-12, so they're a team to keep an eye on as they make the transition to the Big 12. Arizona, a team that really came on this year, is that there to stay with Jetfish? Kansas, as crazy as that might sound, they're really building momentum with Lance Leipold. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're looking at CFP spots, Jake, I'm hard-pressed to see a year where it's not, 7, 8, maybe even 9 teams, right, that come out of just the Big Ten and the SEC. Certainly, every single year, it's going to be at least 6. I cannot envision a world in which we don't have at least 6 from some combination of the Big Ten and the SEC. You're going to have the number 4, number 5, in some cases, teams in a conference making this playoff. It is certainly going to be a heavy dose of the SEC and the Big Ten, and that's not just next year. That is going to be for the foreseeable future until something changes, whether it's a change to the CFP again or conference realignment hits again. But, yeah, those two conferences, they are certainly going to be playing college football playoff football at a much higher rate than any other conference out there.
Kelley Ford, thelines.com. We'll tell you about the lines when we come back. Also, K Ford ratings on X. I got to take a timeout. We're brought to you by BCI. Go to bcipeople.com, 601-427-4185. Begin your protection plan today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to go
back to the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly. With the hottest sports stories of the day.
For one of those moments, it only happens
right here
on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Tuesday edition of the program brought to you by Maristar Casino. Get out and play today. Kelley Ford with thelines.com on with us till the top of the hour. Kelley, tell us about the lines and what's going on this week.
Yeah, Jake's over at thelines.com. Got you covered with everything NFL playoffs, some NBA stuff going on too. My contributions to thelines.com really winding down as I am a college football contributor for this season, and with this season now behind us with the national championship game last night, the focus really on the NFL and some of the other sports that we still got going on. But it's a great website. It's got lots of content, all sorts of betting advice and information. So if you're into sports wagering, thelines.com certainly a good place for you to check out and get your betting fix.
I do want to get your thoughts on the NFL playoffs coming up here in just a bit. I have one more college football question. You know what I'll be interested to see with this 12-team format is, I hate to say that there's, favoritism this way or that way, but how does the committee even the playing field week without even the playing field in the sake of parity? And what I mean is this. Let's just say you have, 4 SEC teams and then, 4 Big Ten teams. How do we know that, or do they? How do we know that they don't try to maneuver teams to maybe front load all the SEC teams except one on one side of the bracket? Do they do something to make sure they get maybe 2 teams from the Big 10 or Big 12, 2 from the ACC? I have a lot of questions about this moving forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I certainly do as well, Jake. And listen, after what happened this year with the final CFP rankings and Florida State, I won't even really pretend to know or to guess that I know what the committee is thinking or is going to do. I never would have imagined a world in which an undefeated Power 5 champion in the 4-team playoff era was left out in a scenario where it wasn't in favor of another undefeated team, right? So I don't really know what to expect or project here from the committee. I still in my heart of hearts don't believe the committee will, they certainly should not. I don't believe they will try to manipulate a bracket to ensure this, that, or the other. I think they need to follow their protocol, their process, which I have advocated for needs updating, but I think they will follow that to the best of their ability and hopefully do what they're charged with doing, which moving forward will be to properly select and seed the 12 best college football teams with the resumes that they put together to date. My biggest issue with the committee, Jake, is we need to reevaluate what is their charge. There's been so much confusion over the years, and it really came to a head here in 2023 with what is their charge? What is the charge of the committee? I think that needs to be reevaluated, restated, reshaped, all of that before we even get into what are you actually going to do with these 12 teams. I would certainly hope, though, that they wouldn't be manipulating the bracket to achieve some sort of outcome. Again, after this past year, I have no idea.
Looking towards the weekend, the NFL playoffs, Super Wildcard weekend, you got a lot of great games. Which games are you most interested in as you turn towards the weekend?
Yeah, it is exciting. And, of course, I'm from Indianapolis, live in Indiana still, and so heartbreaking for the Colts and how it all went down this past weekend, home game against the Texans and a win and in. Could not get it done. But to me, as I look at this, I'm interested in a handful of these games. What draws attention to me would be, Kansas City. That's a team that they haven't played as good as they probably should have throughout the course of this year, but here they are playing at home. I know they put that game on Peacock, trying to get all the Swifties to sign up for Peacock, which is interesting to me. Buffalo, that's another one. Of course, they win the division after coming back in Miami and getting the win on Sunday night. So I'm over in the AFC looking to see really or at various points throughout the season. That's where I'm looking in the AFC. And then you go over to the NFC. I think the best team in football, not just in the NFC, is San Francisco. I really do. I know Baltimore is really good too. I think San Francisco is the best team in football, but I'm really curious about Dallas and to see what they can do. Everyone knows it's been a very long time since they've won a Super Bowl or really had any level of meaningful success in the postseason. But Dallas is the team to me that I'm looking at in the NFC to see what can they do here in the playoffs. Of course, Detroit, there's the storyline as well. I know this is a team, you've got Matthew Stafford going up against Jared Goff and the trade that happened, and both these quarterbacks facing their former team. There's plenty of storylines to go around. I'm really focused on who I believe are the contenders. Those are really the one seeds and those others that I mentioned. It's going to be a fun weekend regardless. The NFL, for as much as I love the college football regular season, the NFL playoffs are hard to beat. The NFL's got a really good postseason format, and they're going to give us great games and great drama.
You mentioned San Francisco. They are obviously, you can make a case for them to be the best. Baltimore, you can make a case for them. Is it as simple as it's those two and then everybody else, or is there a landmine or two for both teams here in the next few weeks?
I think there are certainly landmines, Jake, but those two teams, they are the number one seeds for a reason, and they are the best teams in their respective conferences. Now, we do get upsets all the time. I mentioned Dallas, in the NFC. I also think Detroit, if they can have things break their way, I think they're an interesting team. And then in the AFC, it is Buffalo. That was a team, man, everyone buried them, and I can understand why based on how they were playing, but that's a team the prognosticators said it over and over, don't let that team in, don't let that team in. Well, not only are they in, but they're in there as the number 2 seed winning the division. So that's a team that I know Baltimore was certainly hoping wasn't going to make the playoffs. They're in now, and it's going to be really good. Miami's a team, so much upside, but they have a big downside too. It's going to depend which Miami team shows up at each of those games to figure out how dangerous they're going to be. But the NFL players are always good for some surprises. Whether that carries throughout to the Super Bowl, I don't know if it will, because these number one seeds are so gosh darn good. But we will get some upsets here this weekend, I'm convinced.
Make sure to check him out on X at K Ford Ratings, also KFordRatings.com and TheLines.com. Kelley, I appreciate your time. Look, we'll do it again next week. We'll get into some more NFL as we'll be into the second round of the NFL, and I'm sure there'll be some college football we can talk about.
I love it, Jake. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
Thanks so much. Kelley Ford on your radio. We are brought to you by Madison PTS. And, of course, now new location, new facility. Bill Thomas and his team at PTS Power Pitching here to help your athletes take advantage of their new facility. You can sign up for a sports performance evaluation, arm care program, strength and conditioning classes, ask about cage rentals, and more. Go over to their website. Of course, you can do that at ptssports.training. 601-898-1828. That's 601-898-1828. We'll be out there in a couple of weeks. Let's see here. Let me get caught up on a couple of these. Unnamed texter, Jake, what do you think about football games being played at the M Braves field? What football, though? Beaver, what kind of football would you play there?
I don't see what you could put there. I know that, they could do bowl games in baseball stadiums, but those are Major League Baseball stadiums. We're not going to get a bowl game in Pearl, Mississippi. It's a fun idea, though. I'd definitely go. Whatever level you put in there.
Res Dog thinks the stadium was doomed the day they decided to put it next to Roses. Besides Roses. He's never been out there either, has he? Because it's not next to Roses.
No, it's not.
And let's see, he also says they should have put it on Flag Island. Who doesn't like baseball, boats, and yes. More Bully said I meant More Bully Nation. And Jason and Flagstaff, I tried to call. Folks can say whatever they want about Will Rogers, but Penix's two worst games were because he was missing wide open underneath wide receivers and trying entirely too hard for the home run. Rogers will not do that. And look, Penix had a lot of pressure on him last night. A ton of pressure on him last night. And you got to credit Michigan for that in their front seven, and also that back end is not bad at all. Hour 3 on the way. Coming up next.
Near you.
WRKS Pickens Jackson, where it's time to take a ride. Yes, we're back with Jake Wimberly on the afternoon drive. It's live, it's local, and it's on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Hour 3 starts right now on your radio, courtesy of our friends at Capitol Grill in Jackson. Happy hours here. You can partake in 50/50 I-55 North Suite F. Capitol Grill's got your Michelob Ultras, your Bud Lights, and plenty more, courtesy of Southern Beverage. Please drink responsibly. 18 TVs to get the game of your choice. Handcrafted foods, beverage specials, game of pool, appetizer, or meal. Forget about the workday. Forget about all of it at Capitol Grill of Jackson. Make sure to go to capitalgrillofjackson.com. Also, facebook.com/Capitol Grill of Jackson to stay up to date on everything going on at Capitol Grill. All right, so Kelley Ford joined us 4:30 to 5 o'clock. Lot of college, little NFL. We've been talking about, obviously, the national championship game, if you're just joining us. Also about the Mississippi Braves, who have announced their last season is coming up this year. 2024 will be it for the Mississippi Braves in the state of Mississippi, and they are headed east. So we'll see what happens with that stadium moving forward. And also, Judd Boswell has stepped down, or he is no longer the head football coach at Clinton. He is the athletics director. We'll have Sam Webb on, Michigan Insider, 247sports.com, coming up at 5:30. And I'm going to get back into this way too early Jesse Simonton poll. Let's see, Monkeys Riding Dogs says, and you can text us 601-885-3776. That is the Cowboy Maloney's text line. You can bet one thing, they'll still be selling them $30 ribeyes out there. Have you ever bought those $30 ribeyes? What? Not even to try it? On the smoker or griddle or whatever you have?
Never.
What is it we call that thing that you bought that you don't use anymore?
Oh, the bread oven.
The bread oven. You don't use the bread oven anymore, do you? And Gator Matt, that is a very, very funny text. I will not pay that business any homage on this show. J-Rock, let's try to get the SEC baseball tournament out of Hoover and play it at Trustmark Park. I know it would be a long shot. Hey, there's, you got to get creative, right? You got to do things, and I am sure the city of Pearl is way out in front of this, and the ownership group with Trustmark Park, and I would have to think they're not just going to let the stadium sit idle. They're going to do everything in their power to do something with it and to do something productive. And you won't know for quite a while, probably, I'm sure. Space Ghost. Congratulations on your victory. I guess now you can afford to buy me that steak dinner. When did I lose a steak dinner to Space Ghost?
It never actually happened. You know, he jumped on that. He jumped on that bandwagon of people wanting to get dinners from you. But you know Space Ghost. He likes to make things up. Things actually, you know what, though? I actually think he believes that it happened. Things happen in his brain that he thinks actually happened in life.
That never really happened in life. Possum Neck Joe. Beaver Jake, give me your pick to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. I'm going to go with San Francisco. Baltimore very well could do it. I would not be shocked. I've just got to see it. I've got to see that team click in the postseason. So I'm going to go with the 49ers, who have a more seasoned postseason team. What do you think?
Same.
I think the 49ers have a better coaching staff. And I think they're built for this. We've seen this. Baltimore, they ran roughshod through the AFC this year. But I got to see it. And they may do it. Baltimore may wear everybody out all the way to the trophy, but I'm going to go with the 49ers. I wish I could give my Dolphins that same love. I can't do that. See, I'm an objective man. When I tell you it's Michigan, it's Michigan. When I tell you it's not Miami, it's not Miami. I would love to see Miami do it. I tell you what, one of the funniest things I saw the other day, did you see Stephen A. Smith go off on Mike McDaniel? It was hilarious. Just talking about they were a paper tiger, and every time the moment's there, they crap the bed. Like when you think, okay, now it's time for Miami to show out. We hear all about this offense. We hear all about this. Boy wonder this, boy wonder that. They go to Baltimore and get drug. They go to Buffalo and get drug. They go to Philly and can't pull it off. He's not wrong. Like something is just, they're really good. They're fun to watch, but they're just not there yet, are they?
No, I can't disagree with any of that.
Mr. DX, they could turn the Braves Park into a pro disc golf course.
Mr. DX.
I love you, but I no.
Let me quote the gentleman from Office Space. This is horrible, this idea.
Louvier, this may be the best text he's ever sent in. This is really good. You picked Michigan, and everyone thought you were crazy. Then you picked the Jets and proved it. Yeah? See, where there's the yin, there's the yang. I did pick the Jets to win the Super Bowl the same day I picked Michigan to win the national title. But I ask again, can I get, please, I'm going to be Jim Harbaugh here, please, can I get a reprieve from this pick? Aaron Rodgers ran out of the tunnel with the American flag and was done in 4 minutes. So shouldn't that, like, null and void that bet and say, okay, you get a mulligan?
No, I can't allow it.
Crisco, Baltimore ran the AFC, question mark? Well, yeah, they're the number 1 seed. Who else did it? It wasn't the Chiefs. It wasn't Miami.
Oh, this guy. This guy. Noted, long-suffering Browns fan who thinks they're actually going to do something this year. That's why he's saying that. Division rivals.
Oh.
Doesn't like Baltimore.
Well, but Baltimore's still the number 1 seed in for the Browns. You got work to do this weekend, and then you got to go do it on the road.
Yeah. Look, the Browns this year, I was talking to Stan next door at Kixie. You know, he's
huge Browns fan.
He's from Ohio.
Yeah.
And I love the story. I like what they've done. I like that the Browns are actually back to good. I love the Joe Flacco part. I love the fact this was classy. I liked this. Flacco had a clause, or not a clause, but incentives in his deal where every time the Browns won, $75,000 bonus. And Sunday he sat out, so he wasn't eligible for that $75,000. They went ahead and gave it to him.
Really?
Because he's helped him so much. Thought that was pretty cool. But it's a cool story, nice, neat story, but it's still the Browns. Browns and Super Bowl don't go together, and they're not going to go together.
I don't think anytime soon. Gator Matt wants to expand Tammy Rose's business to Pearl. Well, right there. Trustmark Park, I guess. All right. Jesse Simonton, on3.com, has way too early top 25 for next year. And you'll see a lot of these drop. Georgia, number 1. And you could definitely make a case. And, again, I will not have anything numbers-wise. I'll start, again, I already started ripping spreadsheets apart to get them ready for this year. Georgia, number 1, I could see where any model, any take, you say, look, Georgia's bringing back a ton. Vandegrift is coming back. You've got a transfer portal quarterback coming in that's expected to be really good. Georgia could be number 1. Texas, number 2, I could definitely see that. They have just about everybody coming back. They've got a quarterback back that has experience now in the playoff. So I could see that. Bama, number 3. And look, I'll be honest with you. I think at least let's just do the flyover. Athens, real quick. Alston and Tuscaloosa. I don't know that there's much difference in all 3 of those. And next year. And I think all 3 could be you could make a case for all 3 being number 1. With Milroe back, we'll see what happens. Saban's got to get a defensive coordinator, but do you really worry about Saban having to replace anybody? Not really. For Texas and Georgia. Oregon at number 4, Ohio State 5, Michigan 6. So you go 3 SEC, 3 Big Ten. And I think you can make a case again in the Big Ten. Those 3 teams are very, very even. Oregon and what Dan Lanning has done, he was on the college football broadcast last night. Unbelievable job. They're going to be very good. A lot of the media will pick them to win the Big Ten. Ohio State, they're reloading. They've got Judkins from Ole Miss. They've got a quarterback from Kansas State. They recruit in the top 5. And then Michigan. J.J. McCarthy, we'll see what he does. Harbaugh, I just think Michigan takes a step back. Then you go number 7, Ole Miss. Run that hype train, run. Ole Miss. So they would be the 4th SEC team behind Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. And for Ole Miss, it's simple, but it's not. Stay healthy. Stay focused. Don't drop a game you shouldn't. And can you get one of those spots from one of those 3? Because I think you may need it. Because I don't know how many teams the SEC gets in. We don't know. We've never seen this 12-team model. We can speculate. We can look at the rankings and go, yeah, 1, 2, 3, this team here, this team here. But do we really know? Notre Dame at number 8. They're going to be good next year. They were good this year. They won 9 ball games. 10 with a bowl game. And they're not going anywhere. In Notre Dame, Kelley Ford is right. They win 10 games, they've got a spot. They're in the playoff. Now we take a step down. Penn State, that's your team. The Nittany Lions fall now to 4th, likely in that conference, behind, with Oregon in there, Ohio State and Michigan. And then you got Missouri. The top 10 teams, and I think this is going to kind of run the gauntlet across the board in the preseason, SEC, Big Ten, Notre Dame. It's going to be your top 10. Then you get into Utah at number 11. That's the first Big 12 team for next year. So Utah or Arizona, who's at 14 in this poll, they're the 2, followed by Kansas State at 16. The 3 teams that will be vying probably for the 1 spot from the Big 12. We're brought to you by the MHSA. Officially become official today. Go to MISSHSAA.com, 601-924-6400. Pick the sport you love. Become an official today with the MHSA.
Trial near you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And welcome back to the Afternoon Drive with Jake Wimberly, where he's talking about anything and everything that's Mississippi sports.
No, great afternoon.
Right here on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online worldwide on The Zone 1059.com.
We're brought to you by New South Neurospine, online at ns2.md. That's ns2.md. Walk-ins every day, Monday through Friday, also Saturday until 1 p.m. ns2.md. Learn more today with New South Neurospine. We're also brought to you by Maristar Casino and our friends at Cowboy Maloney's, Texas, 601-879-3776. 885-3776. Nails, I take the Browns to the Super Bowl every morning after coffee. Very well done. Let's see. Unnamed texter, y'all's show is great, but please, can we have a full show? Just one without mentioning Michigan. It's like when you were mentioning Taylor Swift every day. Have mercy. Well, you're in luck. You're in luck, he or she, whoever this is. Michigan is about to fade away because that's this year. Now we move to the next year. So we'll be talking other teams and see what happens. So not as much Michigan chatter. You know, I was sitting here looking because I was combing through my spreadsheets, Beef, trying to clean them up for this year. We don't know where we're going to be in a year. Think about this. I was looking at this because when Texas and Oklahoma went to the SEC or pledged to the SEC, this is even before the Pac-12 broke away. I did an article last year on what the future of college football could look like, called it the NCSA, National Collegiate Sports Alliance. We had two conferences, basically. I'm laughing at this. The Pac-16. This is before. This actually took out the Big 12 and moved TCU and some of the others into the Pac-12. The Pac-12 will go down as one of the biggest disasters in college sports, if you think about it. I mean, how do you take a league and just kill it? And I say all that because we don't know what's going to go on with the ACC. Have no idea. I mean, this Florida State battle with the ACC, we'll get David Glenn on with the David Glenn Show to talk about this maybe this week. But, I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen. All right, let's see here. Unnamed texter. Mississippi State finishes in the top 25. That would be a heck of a run for Jeff Lebby in year one. Do you put State in the top 25 next year?
Yeah, I could. I don't know. I could see top 25, like bottom of the 25, somewhere around 24, 25. Because when you get at that point, you know, what does it really matter? But they've got some momentum. All the talk is about Ole Miss's momentum, rightfully so. But I think they've got a little momentum. I don't think it can get worse than last year. I guess we'll just say that.
Chris goes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What, they finished 5-7.
Yeah.
They get to 6-6.
I don't know. They get them 25 though.
Huh?
That didn't get them to 25, does it?
No, that's what I'm saying. It could, because 6-6. Maybe it gets them at 25. They get a little. Maybe they get themselves a Birmingham Bowl win. I don't know. I think it's doable. Let's just say that.
It's going to be tough, but you're right. It's doable. Crisco says, work to do against Houston, ? Well, yeah. Emphasize, I'm willing to place a bet, dinner, or whatever. Crisco, I think he thinks the Browns is San Francisco. And they may be. We'll see. J-Rock, Ole Miss will be favored in every game they play next year, with the exception of Georgia, and they could win that game at home. Week schedule by SEC standards. Will Ole Miss be favored in every game? Beaver, let me ask you this. And I'm being serious, and I'm here for every second of it. How big will this hype train be by the time Ole Miss kicks off?
It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be massive.
Well, let's see. Let me look at this. They play Furman to open the season. Vaught Hemingway Stadium, they'll be favored by. I don't know if there'll be a line on that game.
There won't be.
Probably wouldn't even be a line. Middle Tennessee, they'll be favored in that game, double digits. At Wake Forest, they'll be favored double digits. But see, here's the thing. If Ole Miss is going to have the year that is anticipated, which let's just clear the air here, it's college football playoff or bust, is it not? It's playoff or bust. We are there. Are we? That's where the fans are. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you're in your head, you're Jevin Sneed, aren't you?
Yeah.
They can't go to Wake Forest and get upset. That can't happen. Wake Forest this past year, and look, that's a nice program. I know you get tired of me talking about nice programs. It's a nice they went 4-8 this past year. They started out 3-0. Losing their quarterback to Notre Dame was a gut punch. They've got a quarterback named Mitch Griffiths. I don't even know if he's going to be there next year. He was a sophomore. 9 touchdowns, 7 picks. Crisco says, I got to be a homer. Of course you do. That's your team, Crisco. You support your team. I'm just giving you hell a little bit. Then they play Georgia Southern at home. So they should walk to 4-0. Then they host Kentucky. If you're a playoff team, you can't have Kentucky come in there and beat you. Today, I would say that they won't. But Mark Stoops has a nice team. At South Carolina. Can't go to South Carolina and lose. And I think the next these two ball games right here are the most pivotal on this schedule for Ole Miss. At South Carolina, at LSU. Ole Miss might be favored against LSU. We'll see. I don't know if Brian Kelly, they're going to have really good talent, but I just don't know how good they're going to be next year. But you can't drop. You got to go win those games. Then you get a bye week. Let's go to Jason in Flagstaff. Jason, happy Tuesday, sir.
Yeah, you too. I wanted to specify what I meant there, talking about Penn Nix.
Sure.
I have to emphasize that, or I'll say it wrong and get you in trouble.
Thanks.
But yeah, what I was meaning was it wasn't just last night that he had that problem. He did it in Arizona State game and a couple of times in the Arizona game where he would just press way too hard, trying to hit the home run. And I don't see Will Rogers having that problem. But now you can say it both ways, where those underneath guys may not be open because Rogers won't do that. But I don't know. I think Will's going to be really good up there.
Oh, no, I think he is too. And look, Penix is a fantastic quarterback. He just they just wore him out last night. Yeah. And I think some of those throws was, being a little skittish. I mean, once you start getting hit in the face, it kind of does that. And I think he'll be fine. But I agree with you. I think Will's going to be fine up there.
All right, then. All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. 601-897-1059. Nails, do not bet a dinner with Jake. He doesn't pay. Y'all are going to have to – you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to go at some point a la Vince Young and take everybody to dinner. Aren't I? Vince Young was notorious for that. God bless him. That's what got him, amongst other things. I'm going to have to take everybody.
But do you know who actually you owe things to? I know Nails.
Yeah, Nails I do for sure.
I know myself.
Probably so.
Yes. Oh, I know from 2016 and 17. You play like I don't remember these things. But I can't remember who else you owe. There's at least 2 other people.
Matthew says Jake doesn't show up for drinks either. Now, that's not true. Space Ghost says Ole Miss picked up a new running back in the transfer portal. Not yet. But that'll happen. I mean, Quishawn Judkins, here's the deal. Here's what's weird about running backs. Ole Miss, I feel confident, will replace that production. But then Ohio State wins because he's going to go up there and rush for 1,500. Believe it or not, he'll do that, which is wild. Could be the best back there since Zeke Elliott. And I expect that to happen if he can stay healthy. 3-hump camel. They are not, talking about Ole Miss, beating Georgia. If Crisco wants to bet, I'll take that bet now. He just roped Crisco into the Georgia bet. Crisco was talking about the Browns. But back to this Ole Miss schedule. Kentucky, South Carolina on the road, LSU on the road. You got a target on your back. You got to go play. Then they get a bye week. And then the next 3 are the most pivotal of the season. Oklahoma at home, at Arkansas, Georgia at home. Off week again. At Florida, Mississippi State.
Arkansas. They don't concern me. Looking at that schedule.
I mean, sandwiched between Oklahoma and Georgia. That Arkansas trip's always a tough trip for State and Ole Miss. On most years. I'm just saying. It's not a cakewalk. Will Ole Miss be favored in every game except Georgia? Maybe. Maybe they're not against LSU on the road. We have no idea what Oklahoma's going to be. And Florida's going to be garbage. JC, never underestimate Ole Miss's ability to screw up a good thing. We're brought to you by Capital Orthopedic, online at capitalortho.com. They have you covered in Flowood, Madison, Clinton, Brookhaven, Hazelhurst, and Kosciuszko. Move better, live better, be better with Capital Orthopedic. CapitalOrtho.com for same-day appointments. Also 601-987-8200. We're going to take a time out. We come back. Sam Webb on your radio.
Okay, we're back. I'm ready. It's more of the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly, where he's live and local on Jackson Sports Authority, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by Clinton Body Shop. They're located in Clinton and Richland, OEM factory certified, all the manufacturers you trust to get your vehicle back in tip-top shape. It's about family safety and your car's value. 601-924-2159. We're efforting Sam Webb. We may have to grab him tomorrow. I know he's sitting on a tarmac or trying to get off a plane in Atlanta, and we may have to push that tomorrow. We'll see if we can get him. All right, let's see here. True Maroon. I've eaten in the press box with Jake. He has done that, by the way. Does that count? I fed them, like I kind of indirectly fed him at Brandon.
No, that doesn't count because you didn't buy him the meal.
So
I don't think you owed him one, though. Did you?
No, not that I remember, but I could have. Ryan, I heard Brooks always paid for Jake's meals. Is that true? Did Brooks? I don't know that Brooks has paid for anything.
No, the only meals you're getting from Brooks are out of the garbage that he already ate part of.
DX wants delicious Bojangles for everyone. And let's see, Jason and Flagstaff. It just hit me that I very well may be Pac-12 Jason. Watched entirely too much of it. Well, was for about 6 minutes. So Georgia picks up another quarterback in the transfer portal, which is interesting to me. Because you can never have too much depth, right? You can never have too many signal callers. You can never have too many centers. If you don't believe it, just ask Alabama. And that's not a shot at Alabama because, if Chris Landry said, if Alabama would have had another center that they trusted on that roster, he'd have been out of that Michigan game with the bad snaps. But if you look at Carson Beck, who's coming back, Brock Vandegrift in the transfer portal, they have Gunnar Stockton. They need some depth. There. So they go to the transfer portal to do it, and I'll get to that in just a bit. Let's go to Nails. Nails, happy Tuesday, brother. What's going on?
What's going on? Been a while since I called.
Glad to hear from you. Man, good.
Yeah, and by the way, that last text, I'm not accepting Bojangles for my payout. I've been waiting about 15 years.
You got it, brother. Wherever you want to go.
It was Hugh Freeze's. I remember this. It was Hugh Freeze's first Egg Bowl at Ole Miss. That's how long it's been.
That was the Dan Mullen will never lose to this team again year.
Yep.
Very good.
It was. But I would tell you as an Ole Miss fan, any Ole Miss fans that says we can replace Judkins immediately, they're crazy. I'm hoping a running back's going to step up, but man, Judkins was special. That one hurt. That one stung a little bit.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I do like the fact the Florida State quarterback going to Southern Miss. I like that. I'm glad Southern Miss actually made a headline, and I'm looking forward to some competitive football in Hattiesburg maybe one day again. I'm hoping.
No, me too. And I think most people in Mississippi are. I mean, Southern Miss, and I look here what Will Hall has done. I mean, look, they've done a great job again recruiting this year. Number one recruiting class in the Sun Belt. They've got some guys that have come over from the transfer portal. One from Ole Miss, wide receiver Larry Simmons. You mentioned the Florida State quarterback as well. So hopefully Will Hall can pull it together this year.
All right, and I know y'all talked about this probably yesterday, but I wasn't able to listen. So what's your take on the Saints thing? As a big Saints fan, I have my take on it. And my take is Jameis Winston should never, ever, ever, ever wear a Saints jersey again unless he buys it from Academy Sports. And Dennis Allen needs to be fired.
Yeah.
That junk, I don't have a problem with the premise that you want to reward that running back with a touchdown. I get that. But you line up and run a play and let the defense have a chance. Because you got to think about this. None of us are 330 pounds, 6'5" linemen. What if that dude ran in there and just sideswiped the knee while that dude was just standing up going, come on, man, let's get on. I need a shower and a steak. Let's get out of here. And you get sideswiped on your knee and you career-ending knee injury or something over Jameis Winston. Now, I'm giving credit to Jameis Winston because that's all I've heard. I saw an interview with Winston where he took credit for making the call. That what if you ended somebody's career because you dove into the end zone and sideswiped a knee and tore somebody's ACL or something? I mean, give the defense a chance to play defense. And I think it's junk. I think if I was the owner of the Saints, I'm firing everybody and I'm just starting over. We need to start over anyway because we suck. And I ain't talking about Winston specifically because Derek Carr sucks too.
All right, brother.
And,
hey,
you know how we end. The state sucks. I'm out.
See ya. Sorry to cut you off there as I'm getting close to a break here. Yet, look, I don't know that Dennis Allen being back breeds a lot of confidence in New Orleans Saints fans. Does it?
Oh, no, Jake. There is reason to be excited in New Orleans based on the article that I read today. Now, it's pure speculation at this point. This was on Saints Wire. And I'm talking about excitement even for you. You will become a Saints fan if this happens.
Really?
The speculation is, right now, early rumors are that the Saints, as they put it, quote, over the weekend, wined and dined a certain coach who they would definitely be willing to bring in. And the way it was described, if it were to happen, they're not going to fire Carmichael. This guy would be kind of like a co-offensive coordinator. Gruden's name is back out there.
We're really going to do this again?
It is. And this was one of those Saints, whatever, I guess. Do you call them beat writers when you get to the NFL? Whatever Saints Wire is. And they're allegedly, plugged in.
No, that's a reputable,
So
outlet.
Get ready for it. Gruden's back.
So Gruden, Winston, Allen. What a gang. And, man, you talk about a schedule that's not going to be what it was this year, right? You would have to, we don't know, the schedules obviously haven't been released yet. The schedule's going to be harder next year. Surely they're not going to get the kind of draw they had this year. I just think it's delaying the inevitable. I don't think Dennis Allen's going to be there in 2025. I think they get one more shot. And that's typically the way this goes. Crisco says, thanks, Bubba. Who is Bubba?
I don't know what this dude's talking about. He's almost as whacked as Space Ghost.
I will get into a little bit of 247sports.com's preseason ranking, and I want to get back in this UNLV quarterback, Jaden Maiava. We're just going to call him Maiava. M-A-I-A-V-A. Maiava. Jaden Maiava coming to Georgia. 6'4", 220-pound mobile quarterback headed to Georgia. And this is an interesting pickup. Kirby Smart going into the transfer portal to grab a group of 5 quarterback out of the Mountain West. We're brought to you by Ranco Transmission, 1460 Old Brandon Road in Flowood, 601-939-9184, 50-plus years.
This is the home of the Chuck Oliver Show every weekday from 10 till noon on Mississippi's live and local sports authority. And where? We're back to Jake Quiverly with the afternoon drive on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Final segment on a Tuesday. We appreciate Kelley Ford. We'll get Sam Webb later on this week. We're brought to you by Bailey Lumber. Go to BaileyLumber.com. Grab your windows, doors, hardware, roofing, GAF roofing specials, drywall, legacy cabinets, Trex decking specials, and more. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Brandon at 2150 Mississippi Highway 471. Also 4525 John Lynch Street in Jackson. We're also brought to you by Waze Energy. Go to Facebook.com/Waze Energy to get the interactive map. Also WazeEnergy.com. 4 great flavors to serve you. Rescue, the Engage, Respond, and Revive. A portion of the proceeds support the Gary Sinise Foundation. A great zero-sugar, high-caffeine energy drink. WazeEnergy.com. All right, let's see here. Nails. No to Gruden. Yes to Harbaugh. Kirby Smart or Bill Belichick. Or Kiffin. Yes, I would love Kiffin in New Orleans. Rebel Greg. If the Saints ownership has any backbone, they would fire Dennis Allen on the spot. Yeah, I just think you're prolonging the inevitable. Mike, who said Carr sucked? When was the last time that whoever that was made millions in the NFL? Don't worry, I'll wait. What do you think about Carr? Middle of the pack quarterback?
I hear. Okay, it's so funny how people describe success in the NFL as money. You haven't won anything. You haven't won any meaningful championships or anything. Stop focus on how much money someone makes. But Carr doesn't suck. He's very mediocre. Maybe slightly above, but not overly impressive.
I would agree with that. I think that's a good assessment. Middle of the pack guy. He'll win you 8 ball games. I think they got to burn it down there. I think they got to start over in New Orleans. And this is just rinse and repeat now. I mean, since Breeze and Peyton left, it's just been wheels in the mud. Just churn, right? They don't have any 4-wheel drive. They can't get out of the rut. Possum Neck Joe, the weather is getting brutal next week. That's what I hear. 18 here a week from today. Going to play havoc on the Chiefs game this weekend. 9 degrees Saturday in Kansas City. Miami is toast. Joe, I agree with you. Sadly, Miami is toast this weekend. They're not going to be able to pull. That's just too much, and they're injured. They're beat up. Going to Kansas City. And look, here's what I hate about it more than anything is my professional football team is going down to Taylor Swift this weekend. That Taylor Swift indirectly is going to end the Miami Dolphins season. Let's go to Louisville, George. George, welcome in.
Hey, guys. Like I was telling Beav, I have just got in the vehicle and have not heard 1 second of anything, but I have to call in for one reason. But hitting on what you just said, you left out one thing. Kansas City's very beatable.
Well, they
even
are.
in Kansas City.
They are.
But Miami's got so many different, But anyway, the reason I'm calling is this, to give you your freaking due. You nailed it and owned it from day one back in freaking July or something. You did not waver. No, I didn't say you didn't wager. I said you didn't waver.
Right.
Difference. And that's it. I just want to everybody out there in football land that you had it, nailed it, owned it, and you deserve credit for it. So more power to you. Like Michigan or not, like Harbaugh or not, and the freaking sign thing is so much garbage that, come on, let's get real and dump that one in the, somewhere in some dang dreg somewhere in South Mississippi or something. But anyway, Michigan was the best team in 2024. Props to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see what happens in 2024, 25. I want to ask you about this. I didn't get a chance to get into this. This Pat McAfee thing with ESPN, I am blown away by some of the stuff. Obviously, he calls out, and we'll get more into this tomorrow. You got the Jimmy Kimmel, Aaron Rodgers battle going on with the Epstein list, which is just wild. You've got McAfee calling out basically one of his bosses on his own show. And there's excerpts in here. I'm trying to find it real quickly. This Bobby Burak does a good write-up on Outkick for it. He says, my thoughts and a link on the Pat McAfee deal with ESPN. He said about mostly talents. ESPN hired McAfee over Williamson's head. Norby didn't want him. Pitaro and Magnus, I guess they're other CEOs for suits for ESPN. They did. So you got one, Williamson, who did not. You had two, Pitaro and Magnus, that did want McAfee. Norby's an old school TV guy who doesn't value McAfee's YouTube numbers. That's fair. People at ESPN say Norby was behind the leak that ESPN wanted to hire Colin Cowherd back. Have you heard this? And that Norby would prefer to replace McAfee with Cowherd. Cowherd, of course, is a bigger TV draw. McAfee's TV show probably will always struggle because the show before him, Stephen A. Smith, was primarily catered to the NBA. McAfee more so towards football. So they have quite the conundrum here on their hands, paying McAfee all of this money. Now, again, I can take or leave. I don't watch Pat McAfee. I see some of his stuff and I'll chuckle, but I think the whole sideline broadcast with him is dumb as hell. What happens here? Does he just have a cup of coffee and get bought out by ESPN and they go with Cowherd? Will Cowherd actually leave Fox? He left ESPN to go to Fox. What happens?
I wouldn't think that they're going to get rid of McAfee because they doubled and tripled down and shoved McAfee down our throats. This show, game day, sideline nonsense, special, shows, whatever. I don't think. They clearly have some sort of crazy love for McAfee that I've never really seen. And, McAfee followed up on this yesterday. I will give McAfee credit. Like, he has big nards calling out, what he sees as wrong. I mean, he specifically named that dude by name.
He did.
I respect that, he's never been, I guess you would say, straight shooter or whatever. Still don't like him. Still don't like his, his show or whatever, but that's fine. But yesterday, he went back on it, and the quote I read, he used this word, and we've talked about people who always still put this word behind it. He goes, blah, 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 he's talking about the situation, but our relationship with ESPN, it's strong, baby. That's that guy who still uses baby behind stuff. That is so lame. You sound like a loose.
What's wrong with baby?
Baby.
I'm kidding.
Baby.
That is.
Hey, yeah, the Bills, baby. Mississippi State, baby. Maybe you come on today, and if you said Michigan, baby.
Wolverine Wednesday, baby.
You sound stupid, yeah.
No, I get where you're going. I don't know where this ends, but you're right. I mean, McAfee calling out one of the suits and calling him on the carpet. Like, I know you did this. I know you don't like me. I don't really like you either. So, but he must, well, there's a conviction there that I respect for McAfee to do that on a platform that it'd be just like calling out somebody here, like a suit at Alpha Media. I can't pull that off. I get fired. But I don't have that beef either. But McAfee takes a chance and says, I'm willing to risk it all to put it out there. But obviously he feels confident enough that he has backing from the other two guys, this Pitaro guy and this Magnus guy, that he says, I can do this. It's very interesting. Dexter. Who is Swag, baby? Yeah, see? There you go. That was a thing too, right? Who is Swag, baby? Brown Hornet says, don't take this wrong. Your show would be better than McAfee's on ESPN. I don't take that wrong at all. DX, Mr. Beaver, baby. See what you started? You have created a comeback for the term baby on this show.
Don't start dropping babies now. It was Vince Vaughn overdid it in Slingers. It was funny. Every now and then it would be a Costanza thing. What are you, Costanza? You're taking my babies? But it's, 30 years later.
We got about 1 minute, baby. 1 minute. So you did this. You made this manifest itself. So
first manifest usage of 2024. See, that's not going to end.
Where is Squez at? What is he doing? We appreciate Kelley Ford jumping in, and we appreciate you guys and girls out there. For those of you that are tired of Michigan, that's over. I'm putting that one in the closet. It's time to move on. We'll have a lot to do tomorrow. Remember, ketchup is king, bacon's a delicacy, aloha means goodbye. Watch your radars, baby. Good night.